Good morning, everybody, and good morning to our wonderful guests today. Today we're going to be talking about how you can migrate to Australia as a teacher. And I have someone here who knows everything about it. So, what we're going to do first of is to give him the floor for him to introduce himself. He has a YouTube channel, by the way, so please, you have to subscribe to his channel because you would get a lot of this information from his channel as well. So I'll give him the floor to introduce himself, and he's going to tell us the process of how migrating to Australia as a teacher is done. Please break it for us. Very simple. Easy, easy, easy. Like step 1, step 2, step 3. You know, that kind of thing, so that people would have more information. Make it very simple for them. Okay, so over to you, Mr. Ayo. Please tell us
All
about
right.
yourself.
Thanks for having me, and hello everyone. Thanks for joining us. My name is Ayo or Ayo Tunde. That's the full name, but most people call me Ayo. And my YouTube channel is Australia Pathfinder, and I've been helping people since 2018 around June there about 2018 when I decided I wanted to move to Australia. So I'm based here in Sydney, Australia, and we have groups where we help people to move to Australia. Of course, most of the work is DIY, which is like do it yourself, but you get people who have gone ahead, who have done the process to like put you through what the entire process looks like. So I've been doing this since 2018. I have a full-time job, so this is something I do after work, and you can imagine the timing. So sometimes I stay late just to respond to people and all that. So it's fun, it's interesting, especially when people get positive results, they get visa approved. Yeah, of course, that gives me joy and every other people that help as well. And it's not just me. We've built a community where we help people a lot. So I recently started YouTube just to make sure that at least we get that information out more. Because of course, Naraland, yeah, we started on Naraland. Interestingly, I started on Ireland when I wanted to move. Yeah, when I wanted to move to Australia, and Australia was on my mind, but I
Okay.
had two options: Canada or Australia. So I did my own analysis. Australia was slightly better than Canada so then. So I was like, okay, let me just proceed with this. And I did my skills assessment. It went well. Then I wasn't able to sleep. I was just reading and reading, joined the group that I could join, and people were pouring out their issues. And from there, I learned more. We read, research, then started making friends. Then people started asking questions, and we research more. And that's how we grew from there. We grew. We had a group, and now we have more than 6,000 people in one of the groups. So you always find people to like help, and maybe someone who has accessed similar occupation. So when it comes to, so that's a brief about me. Now let's talk about moving to Australia as a teacher. It's a, how do I put it? We've seen the bad and the ugly and the good ones since we
Okay.
started because of our degree in Nigeria. So there is a way they categorize Nigeria qualification. Hopefully we get that adjusted soon. We're working on it to make sure we get that adjusted. But there is what we call the classification. So Australian Qualification Framework, which is AQF. So it grades qualification from any other country
Okay.
and aligns it to the Australian qualification. So with Australian qualification framework start from 1 to 10, I think. So for example, masters is AQF 8 and a BSc, a bachelor's degree is AQF 7. I went to Ekiti State University and my qualification, because I did a 4-year course, was not considered an AQF 7, which is a bachelor's degree, was considered AQF 6, which is an associate degree, a bit lower than. So with that situation, there's been a lot of back and forth with assessing as a teacher, because that could be an interest to people assessing. However, we've had a few big breakthroughs. We've had people who are like very bold, decided to give it their all and go ahead. So some in science they call them like guinea pigs, or but some of them like they stuck to it and they got it. So now through that we've been able to figure out what exactly they want. So in a nutshell, to assess as a teacher in Australia, you need to have a teaching qualification. That
So
is the
people who do like ND, like diploma in Nigeria, and then they go for that to get like a postgraduate in education, can
yeah.
they apply to this?
Yes. Yes. So the most important thing is that you have a teaching qualification,
Okay.
and that teaching qualification must be a minimum of AQF7. So a postgraduate diploma is considered AQF7, which is they call it graduate diploma or bachelor's degree. Those are the two AQF7. So whatever qualification you have, the qualification that has your teaching practice experience must be AQF7. So I'll give an example. So just to do like you said, step by step, the first stage is you understand that you meet the requirement. The qualification requirement is that you must have an education degree. So
Okay.
that means it could be a BSc education, like BSc ED or BAED or BED. Maybe you did guidance at counseling, course, no, not course, curriculum studies, and some of those courses. As long as you have a degree from Faculty of Education in any
Okay.
Nigerian university. However, there is a twist to it. Now, if you finish from OAU, FUTA, Unilag, and University of Ibadan, those four universities, and you did an education degree, you are fine, you're good to go. If you went to any other university in Nigeria apart from those other four, and you did an education degree in your undergraduate, you are not eligible.
Oh, why?
Yes, because um, 4 year qualification from any other university from apart from those four is considered an associate degree. So, and you need a minimum of bachelor's degree to access as a teacher in Australia. So, with that, you will not be eligible. To now be eligible, if you finish from any other university apart from OAU, UI, Unilag, or FUTA, to now access as a teacher, you need to have a postgraduate diploma in education, PGDE. If you have a PGDE, your PGDE must have teaching practice, then you can now assess as a teacher. So that's the second stage. That's for people who did education. So I'll just recap that. If you did education from OAU, Unilag, FUTA, or UI, you are eligible. Any other university, and you finish from Faculty of Education, you have BSc, BAED, or BED, you cannot access without a PGD. Now, if you did not study education, you went to OAU, Unilag, FUTA, or UI, and you did any philosophy, anything, and you're now teaching in a secondary or a primary school or maybe early childhood, and you have a postgraduate diploma in education, you are eligible. So if you don't have anything that has to do with teaching practice, just forget it. You cannot. If you have been teaching for 20 years in British International School, like someone told me, and you don't have a postgraduate diploma or you don't have a degree in education, you cannot access as a teacher. So, so I've mentioned that for the people who did not study education but now have a postgraduate diploma, you are eligible. If you have a TRCN, it does not, nobody cares about TRCN. Your postgraduate diploma is the most important thing if you did a non-education course in your undergraduate.
Okay.
For people who did non-education in the other universities, apart from those four, you are also eligible if you have a postgraduate diploma in education. So if you did any other course apart from education, you are eligible. So, so that's the breakdown of the education. Now, the other element to it that I need to add is you must have done teaching practice, and that is compulsory. So, if you have PGD that does not have teaching practice, then it's not eligible. But I'm not sure there's any PGD in Nigeria. But
Yeah, you
anyways,
don't do
Nigeria
something.
can shock me because nothing surprises me anymore. So, but I just need to be sure. But so far, I don't think there's any postgraduate diploma that does not have teaching practice. So your qualification that you're submitting, which is your higher education, must have teaching practice of a minimum of 45 days. If you don't meet that requirement, don't waste your money, because these people, they don't work on emotions. Prayer works, but it might not work in this case if you don't meet the requirement, because they
Yeah.
don't want to be sued, or because someone else can pick it up and say, "Oh, why did you approve this person and did not approve for me?" And they sue
Yeah.
them. So they don't. Emotions does not work. So if you don't meet those requirements, don't bother paying. So
Mm.
45 days minimum for teaching practice. Then you can, with your PGDE and your initial qualification, you can access. If you have a master's degree that has teaching practice embedded in it, then you can also access, as
Okay.
long as it has teaching practice and a minimum of 45 days. Now, if you qualify, from people listening now or watching, if you qualify in this at this stage, then you are good to go. The next thing you need to check is the occupation you want to nominate. Now, your teaching practice, where you did your teaching practice, will inform the occupation you nominate. For example, you did your teaching practice in a secondary school. You are currently teaching in a primary school now. You graduated, you are now teaching in primary school. You can only nominate a secondary school teacher, because that was what you are trained for. Because there in Australia, when people go for teaching practice, they usually split them at the points.
Okay.
Like so when you're studying education here, you get split at the point where you say, okay, I want to do early childhood, I want to do primary, middle, or secondary school. So if you
Yeah.
go for a teaching practice in secondary school, you are not allowed to teach in anything lower than that, any other area of the school. So you can only teach in
Okay.
secondary school, because that's what you are trained for. So,
Yeah.
and they apply that in the assessment as well. So if you did teaching practice in a secondary school, you need to select secondary school teacher as your occupation. Irrespective of whether you are now teaching in Montessori or you are now teaching primary school student, it does not work. Now, the other thing is, if your teaching practice and your current occupation does not align, like maybe you did teaching practice in secondary school and now you're teaching in a primary school, you can still access as a secondary school teacher. However, you will not be able to claim points for your experience, because your experience does not align with that occupation. But you can still assess and get a positive skills assessment. When you get to Australia, to now as not assess now, to now register as a teacher, like the way you would do TRC in Nigeria, to now register as a teacher to be able to teach is a different ball game. So that one is different. Where you now land, you can now work around that. You can even do any other job you want, because you are not restricted. You can do any other job until you get your teacher's registration. Because assessing as a teacher to move to Australia does not guarantee that you will be able to teach in Australia.
Okay.
So that's what most people don't understand, because there is, and when you land in Australia, they are not just like I assessed as a customer experience manager when I was moving to Australia. Now I'm an IT project manager. So whatever you assessed as does not really matter what you do when you land. So you can decide to become a medical doctor when you land, even as a teacher. So whatever you do is up to you. But however, if you want to now continue as a teacher, you need to now register with the state that you are living, because Australia is more of a federal we have the federal government and we have state controls their own stuff as well. So you need to register with the state. So each state has their own specific requirement. So similar to what you have gone through doing the assessment. So but you'll be able to, then they will need your experience. What have you done before? They will need those details. So yeah, so that's the education part. Very easy. I hope everyone is clear with that. Now, step two. After you have
Before
selected,
before we go to step two, someone said, "What about if you're a lecturer in a tertiary institution? Can you do this whole assessment?"
that's a different assessing authority entirely. So, for most people, like Canada, for example, there is West, there is ICAS that does all the assessment for everybody. In
Mm.
Australia, each occupation has their own assessing authority. So a
Okay.
surveyor has a different assessing authority than a medical doctor or a teacher or an engineer. Each body has their own their requirements. So if you're a university lecturer, you can access as a lecturer with vet access. But you need to have like some basic requirements. First of all, you need to have a bachelor's degree from those four universities that I mentioned, or you have, or what's the word now? Or you graduated, or you did a 5-year course from any other university, or you have a master's degree. You need a minimum of bachelor's to access as a university lecturer, and you must be teaching in a university, or you must be lecturing in a university. So not a polytechnic. Your students must the award they get at the end of their studies must be a bachelor's degree or and above. So if you're teaching, if you're in a polytechnic, you cannot access as a university lecturer. You need to choose another occupation. There is another occupation for polytechnic lecturer. So and you must have a research publication. So, because that shows you're actually a lecturer, like you're doing research. So that's one of the requirements. So you must have at least a minimum of one publication. They have specific journals that they've written. You must have your publication published in that journal. So if you have that, you meet the requirement of a university lecturer. So that's about university lecturer. Now we'll go back to the teacher, which is step 2. So step 1, we've covered your qualification. Now you know how to select your qualification and the occupation. Step 2 is English access, English request, English test. So AITSL, which is the institute that handles teaching assessment, they require that you must have IELTS academic, and the minimum score you must have is listening and speaking must be 8, and your writing and reading must be 7 in IELTS academic. Anything less than that is a no, because it's high standard work for teachers here. So so you need IELTS academic 8877. Interesting one is that they accept one skill retake, which is how do I put it? When I say one skill retake, like you can retake one if you fail one band or one, yeah, you can go and retake it and add it to the score. They accept that for IELTS academic.
Okay.
And the only English test they take is IELTS academic. If you do general, it won't work. But you can use the IELTS academic to complete the process, to do your assessment. After you do the assessment, you need nomination. You use it for nomination, even for the visa. The Australia accept IELTS academic or general. But for your assessing authority, academic is required. Now, for other assessing authority, they all have different requirements. So I will not go into that. They have, so don't confuse, don't say, oh, Australia requires IELTS academic. No, Australia does not require IELTS academic. But for teaching assessment, it is IELTS academic. Some other assessing authority don't even need English tests. Some need PT, so they have their own specific requirements. So don't bundle it up. This is just for teachers only. For people who are just joining, we're just talking about teachers. So English test covered, 8 listening and speaking, reading and writing 7 minimum. If you have that's stage 2, then you can now submit your application. The application takes about 4 to 8 weeks or so. Very easy because we don't have too many people assessing. Because some people the English score has been an issue.
Of
But
course,
sincerely, I can't blame them.
8877. That's a high
Yeah,
band. Even nursing
that's
in the UK do not
that's
require that.
easy. Eh, it's because I don't think it's because if you want to teach, you need to be resilient. If you want to teach in schools, yeah, teaching is not an easy job as well. And you also want to be you also don't want to be not you don't have to have like speak like or have an accent, but you also want to be able to speak clearly in such a way that your students can understand you. So, which is very, very important. So, yeah, because I understand them too, because you can see some people, ethnic, maybe Nigerians, probably because we grew up speaking English, it's probably not an issue. Of course, I will not say that we still don't have people who cannot speak fluently, and at the same time, not even fluent, but being able to communicate well. Because there's a difference between some people can, like, they're very bold, they speak well, maybe their writing is bad, that's fine. But they also want that all around where people can understand you and
Yeah.
they will not have an issue when you are because of course Australian has an accent. There's an Australian accent, so you don't have that. So you need to be able to blend in. They need to be able to understand what you're saying. And speaking English is not just about accent; it's also about how you communicate. That people will not say, huh. That is the most important because we speak the same English. It's just that we have
Yeah.
different accents. But some people they talk very slowly. I don't talk like this. I wasn't talking like this 4 or 5 years ago. I was speaking like a typical Nigerian, like very fast. It was when I got here that I realized that we speak very fast in Nigeria.
Mm.
So now, when I first got here, there is a lot of, sorry, I didn't get that. What did you say? But now I realize that it's just the same thing we're saying. I just need to take mine slowly so that it doesn't feel like I'm rushing or they don't even
Yeah.
understand what I'm saying. So IELTS will build you in that area because at that point, by the time you have done one IELTS, you know that you are ready for the game. So that's the English requirement. So you can submit your assessment. So for the teaching, so document that you will need, very easy ones. Your IELTS results, your passport, of course, passport biodata page. You will need like a photo, like a passport photo as well. What else? You will need your letter of teaching practice. So you need a letter from your uni that shows that indicate that you did a teaching practice, the name of the school where you did it, and the date or the timing, like just to show that you actually did at least 45 days.
Yeah.
And if you did it twice, just make sure the letter combines, like has all the details to that length. Uh, so letter of teaching practice, your qualification certificate, and your transcript. It's not a problem. You can upload it. You don't even need to send it. You can upload your student copy as well. What else again? That's all. It's very, very easy to assess. And when your result is out, you can lodge an expression of interest ASAP, indicating that you're a teacher, you choose your occupation, you add your point to it, and your age, as long as you're less than 45. Anyways, that's the general benchmark for Australian migration. You should be less than 45 as at the time when you get ITA, which is invitation to apply for visa. You must be less than 45 years old. So the process is super easy, and they're looking for teachers. Teachers are on priority list, so you get nominations faster, you get visa faster. As long as you meet those requirements. So yeah, so we've gotten to that stage. So we used to have negative assessment, but now it's the moment you have that PGD, you are good to go. And one other thing that I want to quickly mention is if you have NC, that's a different. If you have NC or ND before you went into for example, most people like maybe went from NCU to Bachelor of Education in a uni. When you are selecting your what they call it, when you're selecting your initial teacher education, do not select NC because your initial
Mm.
teaching education, which is they call it ITE on the form that you're filling, when you select to be your degree, that qualification that will match up to. So I have someone that has bachelor's degree. This was a very funny thing, and I was really pissed at the assessing authority. She has NC. She's not from Nigeria. She's from I think Zambia or Zimbabwe. She has NC and she did a bachelor's in education. When she was submitting her application, she selected the NC as initial teacher education. They gave her a negative result. And the case officer noted it there that she has a bachelor's degree. And I was like, you could have just called or you could just change it for her. She has a bachelor's degree. So she has to now reapply and now select if she, because I didn't know it was when she got a negative assessment that she
But
reached
she
out to me.
told you,
I
yeah.
was, I was like, if I had known, I would have told you to even discard because she didn't use direct entry, so she still went through the normal years to do her bachelor's degree. But if
Yeah.
you did direct entry, which means you went to 200 level, for example,
Straight, yes.
then you will need to add it. But your bachelor should now be your initial teacher education, because or your PGDE, because that is the one that is equivalent to AQF 7, which is the most important thing. So yeah,
Yeah, because this part that you've just answered now, Caleb was asking that question, and he was like, "Please, I am an NCE graduate with a first degree in non-education faculty, and have been teaching for over 10 years in an international secondary school." So I think your explanation covers it because I don't think
Yes.
he has a bachelor's
Yeah.
degree or a postgraduate degree. Or Caleb, if you have got, just leave it in the comment section so that we know.
Yes.
Um.
With this information that you have just mentioned, you are not eligible,
Oh.
even though you've been teaching for 10 years. But if you have a postgraduate diploma,
Mm-hmm.
then you are eligible. Because your NC is just an ND, is a diploma, it's not AQF 7. That's like
A bachelor's. Yeah.
AQF 4 or so. So it's not close to a bachelor's degree. So and your bachelor's degree is not education. So if you have a postgraduate diploma that has education, then you may be able to access as a teacher.
Okay.
Because that's the way they work here. Most people go for, and even our masters here, some of the masters here has teaching practice as well. For
Mm.
people maybe who have done something else and they want to come to Australia for masters, so you need to go for masters of teaching,
Mm.
not masters of education, because master of education don't. I think master of education does not have teaching practice, but masters of teaching has teaching practice. I heard that too. So you need to
Okay.
make your research because master of education would not get you to become a teacher, but master of teaching will get you because
Get
there will
you
be
to become
teaching
a teacher.
practice
Yes. Mm.
added to it. Yeah. So that's it in summary.
Okay. So by the time someone checks and the person says that, okay, I am qualified to do these assessments and everything, where do they go to do the assessments?
Okay, so you need to do the assessment on AITSL website. So AITSL is Australian Institute Teaching for Teachers and School Leadership, AITSL. So it's aitsl.edu. Jesus, I'm an old man. Sorry. Yeah, so get it. aitsl.edu.au. That is their website, and I will just reconfirm it just to be sure, because I have everything bookmarked. So I didn't think I was going to answer
It's
that.
very important.
Yeah. AITSL. Yeah, correct. So it's
Mm.
aitsl.edu.au,
Okay.
and you go to Migrate to Australia and you see all the details. You just go when you click on it, it's very easy. You'll see it apply online. It's like very you'll see login. I wish I can't. I don't think there's a way to share screen or something, but yes, you when you aitsl.edu.au, you will see it on the top or at the top. Migrate to Australia. Click on it. Read all the information that you need. Then you see the login. It's like very conspicuous. Log in or join. You click on join, create an account, and submit your application. It's very easy. As long as you meet those requirements, you are good to go. So I think Caleb has responded. Unfortunately, you are not eligible
Yeah.
um, because you don't have a degree or a qualification that is at AQF 7 for a teacher.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the process in a nutshell.
So for the assessment, how much does it cost to pay when you want to assess?
Fantastic. Okay, so that is 1,000 Australian dollars. Um, I need to AITSL assessment fee. Yeah, so I remember they've jacked it up a bit. Yes, so 1,050 Australian dollars.
Okay. Which means it has to be
So
changed to your currency as per exchange rate as at that time if you are considering
Yes,
that.
as at that time. So it's Australian dollars. I don't know. The thing has gone from good, bad, worse, went back to good, came back. See, I deal with AUD now. I cannot because I'm tired. That thing keeps fluctuating. So yeah, but it's $1,050 for
Okay.
assessment for your qualification. If you now want to claim point for experience, then you can now add an additional $234. They will be able to like give you a point test for your employment. So
Okay.
that's because on Australian, if you want to now apply for nomination, you need to add your qualification, your employment, because all those things will relate to your point. So age, there is a point for age, there is point for English test, there is point for skills assessment, there is point for your employment if you assess your employment. So 0 to 3 years, you don't get point. 3 to 5 years, you get 5 point. 5 to 8 years, you get 10 point. And if you have any 8 years and above that is approved, then you get 15 points. So for you to do that, get that point, you need to do this skill employment assessment with AITSL, and that's about $230. So that one is easy, but you need to do your initial qualification assessment first,
Interesting.
get the result. If it is positive, then you can now tell them, now I will give you my reference letter from my school that I'm a teacher in the school. Then and they will approve your years of experience and give you point for it.
Okay. So by the time someone does this assessment and they have the negative assessment, is there
Yes,
room for refund?
unfortunately not. No, Australia does not refund anything.
Hey.
No. Okay, maybe the that was a very good question. Someone asked me the same question. Today is Saturday, right? Someone asked me the same question yesterday. That if this thing does not go well, what happens? Do I get my refund? I was like, no, you only get your if I've applied for visa, you only get refund if one of the person on the application dies,
Yeah.
then they can refund. Yeah, but if you're still alive, or you're not getting your money back. Because they will tell you why your visa is refused. They don't just refuse visa. Like actually when it's come to skilled migration, it's
Mm.
very it's not it's not common for your student visa is different. Student visa, visitor visa, they can do as they like. But for skilled visa, they hardly reject people. The only time they reject people, like major reasons why you get a refusal for skilled visa will be one medical issue. Maybe you have some medical issue that will cost Australia a lot of money, or you have a very major disability that you cannot work or anything, then they can refuse everybody in that application. Or they will tell you, okay, remove this person from your application and we can approve every other person. The person will not be able to travel with you guys, or we rather just or tell us if you want us to reject everybody on the application. So that's for medical reason. Then the other reason will be maybe you overclaim points.
Okay.
You overclaim point you're supposed to have been given. Maybe your assessing authority approved 5 years for you, which is 5 point, and you went ahead to, or which is 10 point, and you went ahead to claim 8 years, for example, maybe by mistake. Unfortunately, at that point, because they will expect that you would have reviewed before you submitted. At that point, they will, or you falsified your document and they catch you, then of course they will refuse the application. So yeah, so if you have done everything right from assessment to English test, you don't it's like whenever they decide they were going to give you, they will give you. You get the visa approved. But for skills assessment, which is like the first stage, yeah, people get negative assessment. It's usually most of the time is usually when they get negative assessment that I get to hear or we get to hear. And sometimes some of them we've had to like do an appeal. Like,
Mm.
okay, let's add this, let's add that, let's do it again. Or some people will go and fix what they need to fix, then do the assessment again. So spend another money. Unfortunately, no refund.
So if you have one negative report, how many times can you reapply and reapply until you can't apply again?
There is no requirement, so it depends. So when you say negative report, you're talking about the skills assessment, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You can do it as many times as long as you are collecting your money. As long as you meet the requirement of the occupation you are selecting,
Mm-hmm.
they will take it. Some I've seen people that have had negative assessment with a body, and they had to go to another body who can assess similar occupation. For example, a civil engineer and a civil engineering technician. They sometimes do similar work, so you can
Mm.
align your document, like your reference letter, to reflect that of a civil engineering technician. For example, if you did not get a positive assessment as a civil engineer, you could switch to civil engineering technician and you could get an assessment. So in most cases, some occupations like they are intertwined and you can do with one. If one
Mm-hmm.
is not working, you can do with other. Some we even like choose the one that has like maybe shorter timeline to get
Yeah.
the result out, just to be, yeah. So it depends on your occupation. Not everyone is lucky with some occupation. You cannot change it. You can't
Yeah.
even have, there's no substitute for you. So but some people are very lucky. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sade said, please, I have a PGDE in education. I have experience in teaching, but it's been so many years. I have a BA degree. Does she qualify to do like the
Oh yeah,
assessment?
yeah. So as long as yes, you qualify, as long as the experience is with, even if you don't want to assess for the assessment. So the interesting bit with Australia assessment is that there are three occupations that you can assess without experience: teaching or teachers, engineering, that's for engineers, and accountants. Those three occupations you can assess without experience. So even if you are a fresh graduate, you can assess straight up. So in your case, you have a PGD, you are good to go. You can assess with AITSL. If you now want to claim points for experience, you can now look for document for the experience that you said you have, as long as it's within the last 10 years, that you can submit it for them to approve it. So if
Okay.
it's within the last 10 years, you can still add it to your application as well. But
Mm.
you are good to go, Shade.
Mary said, I have my BD in English. I hope I qualify for this program.
I cannot say until we know which university you graduated from. So
Mm.
if you finish from OAU, you are Unilag or FUTA, you are eligible. But if you have BEd in English from any other university apart from those four I just mentioned, you are not eligible. You will need a postgraduate to be a PGD to be eligible.
Okay. And Olubukola
Absolutely.
said, is it compulsory to write IELTS?
In Jesus' name, yes. You will. you cannot avoid it. And like I said, maybe because you came late, IELTS is IELTS academic that is required for teaching, and
Mm-hmm.
it's 8-8, which is listening and speaking. You need to have eight, minimum of eight. You can have nine, but you cannot have anything less than eight in listening and speaking. Then your writing has to be seven, and reading has to be seven. So if you have six self, you have to go and do it again until you get the exact point that you need. So yes, Madam Olubukola, compulsory, yes.
Hmm. Okay. And she came back and said, I have PDE, BSc in chemistry, 10 years of teaching experience. I think that's,
Olubukola.
yeah.
Mm, okay, so when you said PD, which is postgraduate diploma in education, does your PD have teaching practice embedded in it? If it does, then you're good. Then your BSc in chemistry, so that means it's a bachelor's of science, so it's not an education degree. But does your PD have teaching practice? If it has teaching practice of at least 45 days, then you are fine. If it does not, then unfortunately you are not eligible. All right.
Double Favor said, good morning. I'm just joining in. Is the assessment the same with QTS?
What does QTS mean? I don't know.
I think it's qualified teachers scheme or something. It's the QTS is for the UK. The
Oh, okay.
assessment he is talking about is skills assessment for Australia. So if you have a postgraduate diploma in Nigeria, where like you have like postgraduate in education and you have your teaching practice and everything, then I think you qualify to do the assessment in Australia, right?
Yes, yeah. So the person is
Okay.
talking about,
Yes.
but I don't know what QTS means. So is that like the assessment to become a teacher in the UK?
For you to become a teacher in the UK, you need to have this QTS, qualified teacher
QTS.
status. Yes,
Oh,
qualified
okay.
teacher status in the UK.
Okay.
That's what it is, and
Okay. I
that's
am
quite
not
different
sure.
from Australian one.
Okay, so it might be different because there are two. When it comes to coming from the UK, there are there are two parties to it. One is your qualification from the UK. Is your teaching qualification from the UK, or was it from Nigeria that you now got the license or the registration to become a teacher in the UK? There are two things. So if your qualification is from the UK, then you should be able to access as a teacher if you have a teaching qualification from the UK. But if you have, I don't know if QTS is based on, because I know it's similar. Maybe it could be similar to like nurses and doctors and all that. But if it's different, because they have some requirement, if you have a Nigerian qualification and you now have QTS, you might still have to go through some process to access as a teacher. But if your educational qualification is already from the UK as a teacher, then that will be an easy fix because Australia and UK they are like father and daughter. They are very they do things together, or twins. Maybe twins. UK is older, so I would say brother and brother. Oh, yeah, you can say that.
Okay. Um, Ella Maye said, this opportunity, is it open to specific subjects? I have a BEd in history from Delta State University.
We don't even need to talk further, unfortunately. Ella, you are not eligible because Delta State University is not a tier one university, it's a tier two university, and your qualification is not equivalent to bachelor's degree, it is an associate degree equivalent in Australia. So you're not eligible to access as a teacher, but you can, what's the word now? You can um, there are other options, like if you have PGD, that's like option one. Option two is if you're married and your partner has an occupation that they can access on the occupation list, then you can come in as the dependent and you can decide to now start processing you can decide to do anything you want. You can or still go ahead with the teacher registration in your state that you'll be residing in Australia. Their requirement varies, so I cannot talk about the requirement to become
Mm.
teacher in Australia. The requirement varies, so each state has their own requirement, and some states might be lenient if you have like if they interview you and they see that you know what you're doing, and know that the board can like give like special waivers and some other stuff like that. Yeah, so
Okay.
that's what teachers.
Uh,
Yeah.
I think Mary said, I school in Alvin Ikoku Federal College of Education in affiliation with UNN.
Yes.
I don't.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
UNN is also a tier two university, so UNN is not eligible.
Hmm.
Abakoko is not eligible, so um, I think there is one that we're trying to put in our assessment for now, which is ADME College of Education in Ondo, and they are affiliated to OAU, and OAU is a tier one university. So we're waiting for
To see.
the the person is assessing, so we're waiting for hopefully the person. So the person has written English. We're waiting for the English test so that we can
Okay.
assess for the person. So or the person will assess, not assess for the person. The person would assess and will say if it's going to work out. But yeah, if UNN is not eligible at this stage, except you have a PGD.
When you said the maximum age for migrating to Australia is 45 years. What if,
Yes.
say, take for example, you have a couple where the husband is over 45 years, but then the wife is below 45, and the wife does the assessment and wants to migrate? Can the husband migrate with her?
Yes, they can. The husband can migrate. The partner can migrate as long as the primary applicant is less than 45.
Mm, okay. And
So
then
yeah.
Double Favor Academy said, "What if the university? What if it is University of Abuja? Is it tier 1, 2, or 3?"
Same thing. The only university, the universities that are tier one that can access straight up, OAU, UR, Unilag, and FUTA. Any other university, the qualification is not considered a bachelor's degree directly, except you did a 5-year course from all those other universities.
Okay.
So, so it's something that we're working towards. We've been this week we've been disturbing NUC and the Australian government as well, just to make sure that we're able to get that upgraded. Some universities might be upgraded, hopefully, they answer us. Some universities might be upgraded soon. But yeah, some universities will still remain on the same level that they are. But we are hoping that some universities will be upgraded soon. So maybe then people will have short to access for some of this, because not only applicable to the ITSL, some other assessing authorities, people cannot access for the occupation they want to access because of some of this, the tier one, two, three stuff.
Okay. Just for clarity's sake, for people who their universities are not the tier one category,
Yeah,
but if they have postgraduate diploma in education, they can do the
correct.
assessment. Fabulous. So if you're not part of the four categories, four universities that he made mention of, then you can assess if you have a PGD. So if you have a postgraduate diploma in education from elsewhere. Double Favor Academy said, but with my PGD and TRCN from Nigeria, I'm eligible for the program, right?
Yeah, we've said that if you have a PGD, you are good to go.
Where did you
Okay.
disappear to, Ayo?
I'm here. Can you not hear me?
We
Can you
can
hear
hear.
me?
Yes, we can.
Is my video not showing?
No, it's not.
Oh no. What happened just now?
I don't know.
Okay,
Okay,
it's
I
better.
think we should just keep talking while you
Okay.
sort that one out. So with his PGD and he can assess for.
Yes, you can access
Okay,
with your PPT, yes.
fabulous. So Double Favor Academy, you can assess with your PGD, even though your university is not a tier one. Emmanuel said QTS is the award given in the UK after a teacher's training in the UK. Thank you very much for
Fantastic then.
clarity.
Yeah, so that means if it's teachers training, then that should not be a problem. If you, I haven't checked because I haven't seen. Sometimes I have too many inquiries, so I only
Mm-hmm.
check when it's really. So I haven't checked for UK teachers or people with QTS. So I haven't checked. So I would probably not want to give wrong information out, but
Okay.
based on the information from other assessing authority for the UK
Mm,
stuff, it shouldn't be a problem then if you already have a QTS and your qualification was from the UK.
okay. Now, this is going to be a question I am interested in. So, you
Okay.
know how nurses can migrate to Australia with PR? Is it possible for teachers?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes. It's
good.
most of the time people get PR as well. They get 190, 189, or you could get the work visa 5491.
Okay.
Yes, and it's independent. The ones that most nurses get are not independent. They're employer sponsored visa.
Yes.
Means you cannot technically leave the employer. But the ones I'm talking about, if you want to do it yourself, that's the independent route, which is 189, 190, and 491. You do it yourself, and you can decide to do 10 jobs if you're energy carrier. If you do 10 jobs, so yeah, it's up to you. So that one you're not restricted. Even if you lose your job, you still continue with your life. You can still do whatever you want to do. So
Okay. And that's
that's the
because you
other
have.
one.
Okay.
PR or you have 5 year work visa.
Hmm. Mary came back and said, I have my teaching practice letter and teaching experience for about 12 years. So with this, aren't I qualified? She is the person that schooled in Alvin Ikoku Federal
UNN. Oh
College.
no, yeah. So, yeah, I remember now. No, you are still not qualified, even if you have 200 years of experience. Unfortunately, your qualification is the most important thing for assessing as a teacher.
Mm,
Your experience is good for your point, but not for assessment. So
yeah,
you need to have the course. So you are not qualified, unfortunately, Mary. You need a PGD to qualify.
yeah. Because she said she had BD in English. So, Mary, for you to be able to assess as a teacher in Australia, because you have a bachelor's from a university that is not recognized at the moment, you will need a postgraduate diploma to be able to.
So All right, so I'll probably not say recognized. It's recognized. However, your qualification is not at the level where they
At the
expect,
level. Okay.
yeah, a teacher to be at. So it's not considered a bachelor's degree. So it's
Okay.
an associate degree. Yeah.
Emmanuel said, "What is Australia's rule with dependents?"
Australia does not have any problem with dependent. You bring your dependent. I think all visas in Australia. No, I will not say all visas because we have about 60 visas. But all the visas generally, like the common visa, employment, skilled, all those stuff, they allow dependent. The only visa that I know that does not allow dependent is if you're assessing as if you're coming in for a bachelor's degree, you're not expected to have an as a partner. So you're
Oh,
not expected to bring in dependent if you're coming in for a bachelor's degree.
really?
Masters, yes, the bachelor's degree does not have dependent option.
Okay.
Yeah, because usually most people that come for bachelors are people within 18 to 20 something years. So they don't expect dependent. You can get independent if maybe if you are bringing in your parents, maybe your mom. That's for people in like secondary school, like people coming to study in a secondary school or something. You can get your parent can get visa. One of your parents can get visa to join you and take care of you while you are here. That's a different one. However, for bachelors, no. For masters, yes. PhD, yes. You can bring in your dependent. For every other visa, generally, as long as you put them in your application, you can bring in your family can join you. Even if you don't add them to the application, if you apply for them later, they can also join you in Australia. So there is no restriction to apart from that one that I'm aware of. Yes.
Okay. Are you able to search your camera now? Because we still can't see you.
Are you kidding? How can I be
No.
talking to be looking at myself? Not good at this is not good at all. You still cannot see me.
No.
Uh,
Sadly.
will I have to log out and come back in? I don't know how this.
Maybe try that. Let's see.
Okay, how do I? So that means I have to. Let me see.
Let me
Yeah.
remove you and then
Okay.
try coming
If
in
you.
again.
Okay. All right.
Sorry guys. Let's try and fix this. I think we would finish up this whole live in the next couple of minutes. So if you have any question that you need answers to, please leave it in the comment section so that we can answer it quickly and bring the life to an end. Thank you for being patient with us. Fabulous. We can see you
All
now.
right. It's better now.
Yes, that's better.
Okay. Fantastic.
I Another question. So, by the time you've done the skills assessment, and you've done everything you need to do, how do you start applying for jobs?
Okay, so there is, I think this is where I try to explain more. So when it comes to the migration, the skill migration, you're not applying for a job.
Okay.
You're applying for a visa. So the visa allows you to do anything you like, legal, anything legal. So when you get your skills assessment, the
Mm.
next thing you do is you lodge an expression of interest. It's like in Canada they call it you are in the pool. So you join the pool, then you create EOI, which is an expression of interest to all the states. I usually advise people to do all the states.
Oh.
Then either of the state will now or the federal government can now pick your profile and say, okay, we like your profile. Send us your document just to be sure that the point you claimed are actually correct. Then, if
Mm.
your points are correct, they will give you an invitation to apply for visa. Then you would have 60
Mm.
days to apply for that visa. So when you apply for the visa and you now do medicals, biometrics, other stuff, when the visa is approved, the moment you land in Australia, whatever you decide to do with your life is up to you. So if you decide you want to continue in your line of work or you want to change career, whatever you decide to do, if you want to become a forklift driver, if you want to make money or you want to be a sit at home, it's no, there is no requirement to. So even though there is some of the visa may have work requirement, but
Not
it doesn't
all.
have to. So it is up to you whatever you want to do. There are people like the husband was the one doing all the work in Nigeria. Now they are here. Husband is now the stay-at-home father, taking care of the family. The wife is the one working. Different dynamics. So whatever works for your family, whatever you want to do, you can do it. Some people still work 2 for 7. Some do 6 hours. They are done for the day, take care of the family. So it's up to you
Hmm.
whatever you do. So it's not about the job. So the
Like,
visa allows you to do whatever you want to do. So it's not connected to like you don't have to become a teacher when you come to Australia. So, but the most important thing is what some people also do is the moment they apply for that visa, they start applying for jobs to fast track it. Like for if you get a job now, for example, you can send it to immigration and say, "Oh, I've gotten a job. I need can I get this visa approved so that I can start this job ASAP or something like that."
mm,
Sometimes it can work. Then also some people, I know a few people that after they got their visa approved, before they moved to Australia, they started applying for jobs. And some of them got jobs. So the only thing they were like, oh, I already have my permanent residence. Oh, well, fantastic. It's just have not landed. When are you landing? We'll offer you jobs. So it was easy for some people had that what we call soft landing, like they already
yeah,
had
yeah.
got a job before they landed. Me, I did not get job, even though I tried to apply for some, but I was too busy to say farewell to people before. So I applied for a few jobs. I didn't get them. But after I landed, I got a job after I landed. So it depends on the individual. Some people got before they left.
Mm-hmm.
Some they deliberately waited to even get a job. So it depends on some people already have like good jobs maybe in the UK. They'll probably want to wait and see if they can get a job first before coming. So it depends on the individual, but the visa does not have anything to do with job.
Yeah.
Some states, if you want a state to nominate you, some states might nominate you faster if you get a job offer, but it's not really tied to that job. So you can get the job offer. Some people you can even get the job offer to get nomination faster, and still decline the offer later. So it's up to you.
That's
So because it's
crazy.
not tied, so it's like it's flexible. The visa is like it's like you're having a work visa. Whatever you do with it is up to you.
It's your decision to make. Mary came back and said, "Can someone with NCE from National Teachers Institute Kaduna apply for the program?"
No, they don't. NT is not a bachelor's degree. It's not considered an AQS 7 bachelor's degree. So no.
Okay. And Emmanuel said, averagely, what is the time frame for people to get job in Australia of today? Any job to stay afloat with, please.
Hey, I don't know. I don't know. Emmanuel, let me see. More do. Okay, so you're probably a Yoruba person, I would think. So like this is usually my response. Orilomo. So that means now your eleda, now your head. But sincerely, most people get jobs within within a couple of weeks. Because first of all, you will need to have a bank account, you will need to have a tax file number. So you could most people get it within 2 weeks or so because you can get any job. Like I said, some people got job even before they left their current location to move to Australia. While some it took them months. For me, I came in. I wouldn't say I came in at the wrong time. Thank God we came in. I came in at the right time. I would say, but it was more of a wrong time in Australia because I came in December. And December, most companies don't recruit in December because everybody is trying to shut down for the year.
It's
So
the
I
end
came
of
in
the
December.
financial year.
So I didn't get anything. I didn't get anything. And in Australia, most people don't start work until after 26th of January because most even schools don't start school until February. So because January is our summer, so it's usually that period that people travel a lot. So
Ah,
because
okay.
of that, so schools are closed everywhere. Most companies are closed till like first week in January, and
Mm.
because most people don't even come in because of their kids, so most people also travel as well. So public holidays, not public holidays. So they are always like people take the first 2 3 weeks of January off. So work don't usually start until like January 27. After the
Mhm.
20 days, it's public holiday on 26th every year. Work usually start at that. So I got my job February 2nd. They started work in January, and I got my job I got my job in January, but to resume February 2nd. So it took me about a month plus. But it's not like I did not see other things that I was doing before I got that main job that I wanted. So some people, yeah, you do other stuff. There are other jobs that you can do while you're waiting, and some jobs will require you to take some courses as well. Like you cannot jump to become for example, a healthcare worker. Like you cannot be a support worker now without having the required qualification.
Mm.
So, and that will take you a few weeks or sometimes a month to even get to that level. So it depends, but people do like they can do factory work. People do factory work. People do jama jama. You do factory work, you make some money. You do some help people in the kitchen. Some people do like different jobs, and some are very lucky from day one like this. Some people brought in money too. I know a few people that brought in money and they were not ready to do any out job until they
Yeah.
got the job that they wanted. So that's why I said it's up to you. So
Okay.
yeah.
Um, I do not have any other question to ask. I don't know if
Okay.
any. I don't know if anybody has any other question to ask. If not, we need to allow Mr. Ayo to go and rest for today. He has dished
No
out
problem.
vital information. It's very.
Of course. So you can always ask questions.
Mhm.
Watch out. I also have like a live session coming up by 9:30 p.m.
Mhm.
Nigerian time today. For we talk generally about Australia because there are some changes that are coming through. So we're going to be talking about that in the live session. If you check my YouTube channel now, you will see the link. You can save it and just click on the link when it's 9:30 Nigerian time. Yeah. So Australia needs people. We're about 26 or 27 million now. And Australia is like, if Nigeria can take 200 million, Australia is times 7.5 or 8 of Nigeria. That's in size. So you can imagine and we only have 27 million. So we need
You people are not a lot.
so yeah, we are not a lot, so we need more people, and we even need more Nigerians and more Black people here. So
Okay.
we have a lot of Black, cause Aboriginals here are Black, but we need more like people from Africa to come over. We have a lot of us here as well, but we also want to see more of Black faces too. So let's apply. Nobody's stopping anybody. Yeah,
Mhm.
it might be expensive, but one thing I always tell people is like take it step by step. Start your assessment. You do everything. You don't need to. You are not going to get visa tomorrow.
Sure
You still need
about.
to do English test. You still need to do assessment. So take it one step at a time. Uh, some of us may have the money, but I did not have the entire money that I spent when I wanted to start. Even when my nomination came and I needed to apply for visa in 60 days, I think I applied for in my 52nd day because I was looking for the money. Yeah, so I had some money, but the money was a lot, and I needed to borrow from friends to add up to the entire money that I needed to pay for the visa fee. So yeah, and I was like, because they usually pay us like quarterly, they pay us some huge amount of money quarterly in my former place of work then. So I was like, this quarter, I will pay you next quarter, but because I wasn't expecting the nomination to come that fast. So I was like, I'll pay you next quarter. This just help me out, and yeah. I got the I got the money, paid, visa came, moved here. Even before I left Nigeria, before the visa came, I had already paid all the people that I was owing for the visa. Yeah.
Quick question. How much is the visa though?
Hey, Lord of Jesus. 4,640. It is expensive. It is 4,640 for the primary applicant, Australian dollars.
4,000.
And
Like four.
yeah, correct. Skilled migration visas are expensive in Australia, really expensive, and that's why most people run away. But like I said, there are thousands of people still. See, Indians, Chinese, those people they are coming. Nigerians, we have a lot of people coming here as well. And like I said, the money you don't have to pay this thing. Like if it starts now, it will take you like 2 3 months or 4 months to get skills assessment.
Hmm.
You take another 1 2 months to get nomination. So you have time to space it out to start working towards that final figure. So 4,640 for the primary applicant. The secondary applicant pays half of that, and the child also pays half of the secondary applicant. So 4,640 for PA. Dependent is 2,320, which is half. Then child is 1,160. And if you have a very big family, now you know that's like multiply 1,160 by the number of kids that you have. But anyway, there's always a workaround it. Yeah, people pay as high as 10,000 plus. I know someone that paid 10,000 for 40 for two, three kids and wife and himself. And I've
Wow.
seen people that have even paid it twice. Don't worry, paid it twice. The person got nomination for a work visa. Then after they paid, few weeks after, they got nomination for permanent residence directly. The man was like, I think I will go for the permanent residence. I won't mind the money. I will go and look for the money and paid. Then came here as a permanent resident. So they were like, but they did not unfortunately did not refund the other money to them.
No.
It's one of those reforms that we are hoping that will come through soon, where you can, like for example, if you in that situation, you should be able to transfer the
Yeah.
application to the
Mm,
money you pay to that one. Yeah, but we'll see how we go.
okay.
To have a big family, no, not really, because there are ways to it. You can always like you don't have to add them to your application. You can so there are like three options that I usually tell people. Option one, pay for everybody. Everybody gets their visa. Everybody moves at the same time. Option one. Option two, pay for everybody. Don't mind the money, but before your visa gets approved, plan to go first. Like somebody goes first. It could be the husband, it could be the wife. Goes first, then the rest of the family will join. It's easier for the rest of the family to now join later because they already have their visa approved.
Yeah.
They can just book a flight and join you. That's option two. Option three, you are the primary applicant. Go for apply for the visa, pay for your own fee, move to Australia. After a while, when you have made money, send for the rest of the family to join, pay for their own visa. But at that point, the visa is a bit expensive because your application has been closed. It's a fresh application for them. So your partner, instead of them paying half price, they'll pay full price. But the kids will still pay like the normal price they're supposed to pay. So yeah, so most people go for the option two, so that they go first, then they
Yeah.
get a house,
And
everything
settling.
settled in the date,
Yeah.
then bring in the rest of the family to join because they already have their visa. So that's the second option. But yeah, like I said, it gives you time, and yeah, people sell houses, people do stuff to, people sell land to yeah. And it's not their fault too. It's also even though 4,000 is a lot of money, um, but it's because Naira too.
Yeah,
No,
true though.
yeah. So if Naira too was great, it won't be an issue for most people.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Emmanuel said, if there is a detailed road path for engineers, please help. Oh.
Oh, there is. Let's talk about that later. You can check my page. I'm Australian Pathfinder on YouTube, on
I'll pin
Instagram,
his
on
details in the comment section.
Facebook. So just send me a chat or a message or join the Telegram group, and we can we can assess you and see where if you're an engineer, yeah, you can assess as an engineer. It's not a problem.
Ella said, for those of us not qualified for these now, what would you advise?
Okay, different options. You can consider study visa depending on your age. At the moment, just for information, Australia is considering reducing postgraduate visa to 35 years. So, which means if you graduate from an Australian university and you are over 35, you will not be eligible for postgraduate visa, which means you will need to leave the country after your studies. That's you can consider study visa if you are within that age range, or if you don't mind coming in, then going back to Nigeria to now process the skilled migration again. That's option one. Option two, if you're married and your partner has an occupation they can access on the occupation list, they can be the primary applicant, you be the secondary applicant. Then when you land, you figure out depending on the state you land, you now do their teaching assessment process. That's option 2. Option 3, you go for a postgraduate diploma in Nigeria. It takes about a year before you know, before we say like this, we'll do Happy New Year again for 2025. So 1 year will be over. You can do a postgraduate diploma. Option 4, what else? You marry an Australian if you are unmarried. You marry an Australian, you come in as a partner, or you marry a permanent resident, an Australian permanent resident or citizen, you can come in as on partner visa. What other option? Then, or you can do like masters, like I mentioned that earlier. So study visa, masters. So those are the 4 options that I can think on top of my head at the moment. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you,
Thank
thank
you
you,
so much
thank
for
you
having
very
me.
much for dishing out wonderful information to us today. I will pin his YouTube channel in the comment section. So if you've got more questions, if you need more information, he's more than happy to answer. Just leave your comments in the comment section. He would answer as well. And please subscribe to his channel too, so that you get more of this important information that you've had today. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you so
All
much.
right. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your evening or
Yes.
your day.
Yes.
All
Bye.
right. Bye. Bye.
Bye. Nana, I just joined, unfortunately. Can I get recorded version of it? Yes, yes, yes. It will be in the live session, Nana, so you can rewatch it from start and you will get more of the information that you have missed. And it is very valuable, so you will get all the information from scratch. Thank you, Shade. Thank you, guys. Have a good weekend. Have a wonderful time and have fun. Don't stay at home. Go out. Go and do something nice. Have fun. And thank you so much for joining me today. Bye, guys.